Hi, this is Misha. And this is a rifle people had asked me about. Thought we'd kind of do its own video. A few months back we reposted a 3-part series on the British Enfield, starting with the original long leaves and then moving through the SMLE, the short magazine Lee-Enfield, and then wrapping up with the number 4 from World War II. But one that wasn't in that video was this here. This is the 2A1 manufactured by the Ishapore factory in India. And this one is unique because instead of firing .303 British, it fires .762 NATO, commonly referred to as .308, although, there are differences, but you get the idea. So it's firing a much more modern and a much heavier hitting cartridge all in all compared to most .303. So this is its own little video. Have this one here. This was manufactured in 1966. It's all original. And just for comparison's sake, I brought out my Australian SMLE Mark III Star. This would be a late World War I style with the product simplifications they introduced. And this is still, of course, in .303. This was made at the Lithgow factory. We still have a 10-round magazine. It is tapered for the .303 cartridge and its rim. And these would be manufactured in England through the 20s in one form or another, and then they would transition over to the number 4. However, in Australia and also in India, they would continue manufacturing the Mark III pattern well throughout the 1930s and 1940s, and they would continue to use and issue them into the 1950s. This is your basic Lee-Enfield. It's categorized as a short rifle because of its barrel length. Takes a bayonet, full-length wood handguards. And that's just a good example of a later production, number 1 Mark III. They would actually change the nomenclature. Originally, these were the SMLE Mark III. In 1926 in Britain, they would switch to calling them a number 1 Mark III using Roman numerals. Now in India, later, they would switch to the Arabic numeral 3. So, after independence, India's factory, which became Ishapore, would continue manufacturing the number 1-3 Enfield. And then after .762 NATO became more and more prolific, and after India began to manufacture an unlicensed copy of the L1A1 known as the 1A1, they would rework the classic SMLE pattern to also fire .762 NATO. Originally, we had the 2A, which was developed in the early 60s and went into production around 1963. And the 2A really was the same exact gun as this here, except it used the original 2,000 yard rear sight for the Enfield. Well, this was a little pointless. So the 2A1 was introduced with a new 800 meter rear sight, which is a much more realistic range for a bolt-action .762 NATO. Now, the Ishapore factory would introduce quite a few economies in the design. For example, this front sight protector is smooth. It doesn't have the lightning cuts. It also lacks any place for a stacking swivel, although it still takes the standard bayonet. We would also go to a stamped sling swivel. And some other just little shortcuts. Now this one has the more standard cocking piece. There's even a simplified version of this simplified cocking piece, which just has a groove as opposed to 3, but this still has the earlier style. So some other changes they did. They didn't just, put a 308 barrel, a 7.62 barrel, and a 303 gun. They had to do quite a bit more. These guns were all purpose-built. They were not conversions. Beginning with the receiver, it's said, and I have no reason to dispute it, that they used a better grade, a stronger grade, a more consistent grade of steel for the receiver. Probably the bolt as well, to work with the more powerful cartridge. They also used a different pattern of butt plate. This is the Indian copy of the L1A1 butt plate. It has a different style of trapdoor. It's easier to open than the original British style. You can actually do it with a finger. This would be the style of butt plate more or less used on the early British L1A1s with wood furniture and the Australian L1A1s. The Canadian butt plates would be a little different pattern, so they would use a different butt plate. And they would also use a different magazine. We're still detachable. This one's a little stiff, guys. Come on. There we go. Set this down because we want to talk about this mag for a second. It's kind of a neat magazine. First off, we really don't have much of a taper anymore because we're using the rimless round. Also, instead of firing, or holding, I should say, 10 cartridges, this holds 12. There are versions of this magazine that hold 10 though. And this mag is kind of loosely a combination of Enfield Mark III mag and L1A1 mag. The L1A1 is most apparent in the floor plate. As you see, it overlaps the edges like an L1A1 mag, and it has a push button to remove this floor plate, much like L1A1 mags. It would have been kind of neat if they had designed the 2A, 2A1s to actually feed from L1A1 mags, but I suspect the Enfield receiver, trigger guard and all that did not lend itself too well to taking that style of mag. On the other hand, these still can be topped off by stripper clips. And we have otherwise a very standard Enfield bolt action system. Now if you notice, this one has pretty smooth wood and it has this finish on it. The earlier ones seem to have this matte blued finish. Later, some people say they might have gone to phosphate, or it could have been a refurb finish. And a lot of the L2s and L2A1s you see, much like the Indian #1 Mark IIIs, have the black sunkerite sprayed on finish. They also have more of a rougher texture to the stock. It was probably sanded and then re-oiled then. So a lot of them have a more utilitarian finish. I'm not going to say this is a really pretty finish, but it is a little better than what you see on a lot of the refurbished ones. We don't really know when they stopped manufacturing these, but they did make them through at least the early 70s based on observed dates. So they would produce them for at least a good decade. We don't really know production numbers again because the Indian factory has never really released a lot of detailed information. These were commonly issued to second line troops, reserve troops, also police, and really anyone else who wanted a gun firing a modern cartridge but did not need an automatic or self-loading rifle. A bolt action would do. This gun has the distinction of kind of being the last major pattern variant of a bolt action to be introduced, designed, and adopted for a, pretty major military. You could also say the French MAS 36, but that was really the last totally new pattern for a major European military. This is really one of the last bolt action variants outside of sniper rifles and other specialist competition weapons that was designed for mass production and actually was issued in some numbers and Even saw a little bit of skirmish combat in the 60s and 70s. So, you know, just an interesting gun. This one is matching. Quite a few of them you find aren't. Even when they're matching like this, it's a good idea to have the headspace checked out before attempting to fire it, because while these are safe to fire 7.62 NATO out of, you want a good headspace, because the infield action, thanks to having the bolt lugs in the back here, is really operating at the edge of its capabilities, even with the stronger steel used in these. So you want to be careful, make sure your gun's in good repair before attempting to fire it. Also, only fire true NATO spec 7.62 ammo. You definitely don't want to put something with even higher pressures in this gun, or it could be unfortunate. But yeah, this was requested in our previous Enfield videos a couple of times, and so I thought we would just give it its own little spotlight. It is an interesting variation, and these are still affordable. They're not crazy money these days. You can usually pick one up in the $350 to $450 range. A little less if it's a bit rough, a little more if it's maybe immaculate, but it gives you an idea. And even though they were made well after World War II, even well after Korea, they still have a military history and pedigree to them. Well, if you have any questions or comments, please share them below as always. We'd like to see pictures or hear stories of your own 2A or 2A1s. If you liked the video, we'd appreciate it if you could click like, and of course, if you haven't already subscribed and could do so, we'd appreciate that as well. This is Misha, and we'll catch you next time.